Hey Hillside, Pastor Aaron here. I hope you're doing good. We're at the end of May. Can you believe that already? And we just know that our world has flipped upside down, and if anything is certain, it's that nothing is certain, and everything is changing and constantly adjusting. And I just wanted to take a moment and brag on you, to say thank you for your faithfulness, your willingness to show up online, to engage in serving your neighbors, our cities, this world. Your willingness to be generous in the midst of a pandemic is so amazing, and it's something that we're just so incredibly thankful for. Our vision is to see God's hope transform our cities one story at a time, and we're seeing that and we're hearing that. Our mission strategies to experience God's love. We're seeing people experience God's love. Literally, we have more people in attendance every single week online than we ever had when we were physically on our campuses. We're seeing more people come to know Jesus in the last 11 weeks than we would ever see in a typical 11-week span. And it's because you're praying, you're inviting your friends, your families, your neighbor. God's hope is transforming lives here in our local area, in our nation, and across the world. You're a part of that. And I just wanted to say thank you for your faithfulness. Thank you for being involved. Our second mission strategy, growing in community. We're seeing people in the midst of a pandemic, when we're isolated, grow in community. It's hard. We miss each other. It's not always just accessible, and yet you're making the effort, whether that's through a Sunday school class, a Bible study, we're having our staff meetings, or maybe that's you just finished the women's study. Over 500 women took an online women's Bible study, because we need community, and we have community in seasons like this, and you're being a part. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to many of you who are a part. And our third mission strategy is serving with compassion. And we're able to serve even in a pandemic, even while we're quarantined. Some of you are showing up to prepare food for partners that we have all throughout the Inland Empire. Others, you're serving your neighbors. Others, your service is through your generosity. Your financial faithfulness in this season is helping our church, our partners, and many other ministries and organizations do what we've been called to do in a season like this. And I just want to say thank you so much. We took a survey. We asked you to take a survey not long ago. I want to give you some feedback. I have it here on my computer. We asked you to take a survey, and you overwhelmingly did this. Over 1,100 of you completed the survey, and we're told by those who know a lot about surveys, that is a phenomenal number. 91% of you who started the survey finished it. They tell us that's a phenomenal thing. And we heard very clearly that many of you, like us, you're eager to get back. 70% of you said you're ready to get back in in-person gatherings. However, within that, also 64% of you, when it came to safety precautions, you said you want us to take all the safety precautions we can in order to get back together. And we understand that really matters, and it matters to us as well. Safety really matters. But it also creates some very complex issues when you're a church that has thousands of people who gather on your campus every single weekend. It's challenging for us to do that, and we would welcome your prayers as we move forward. 23% of you said you would love to stay connected online only for the foreseeable future. Glue, who we worked with this study, says that's way higher than the average church across America. The average church in America, about 11% of their congregation says they want to stay online. And yet 23% of us in California, in this area close to Los Angeles and Los Angeles County, we're in a different situation. We're at a big church. It's a different situation. And many of you have said, for your family, online is the best option for some time into the future. We hear you loud and clear. We do not believe our online is going anywhere in the future. We are now an online church, and that will be a part of our future even when we get back on campus. Also, nearly 2/3 of our Hillsiders said that when we get back on campus, you're eager for us to have kids ministry, students ministry, and the reality is that's because we are a family-oriented church. We have 20% of our attendance every single week, 5th grade and below. We have a significant number also of students in junior high and high school. But we also know our desire to see our kids and our students fully engaged creates another set of complicating factors for how we get back on our campus. in order to do ministry effective for our children, for our students, for those of us who gather in worship, who want to sing, who want to welcome our neighbors. These are challenges that, again, we would love your prayers for wisdom and discernment as we move forward. We also found out in the survey, Hillsiders, you're doing well by and large when it comes to your relationships, your physical health, your finances, and your spiritual health. And I want to say thank you, God, for those blessings. I'm encouraged by those numbers. And yet we know there's many around us who are not doing well physically, emotionally, spiritually, relationally. And maybe in seasons like this, we realize the truth of Scripture. We've been blessed, not for our own benefit. We've been blessed to be a blessing. Maybe we're doing good, Hillsiders, many of us individually, because we have neighbors who aren't. And we could use some of the blessings that we've received or been given to serve, to love, to support others. And many of you are doing that. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. As we take that information from the survey, as we talk to other local churches, government officials in our county, and we learn what others are doing, what others are recommending, and trying to discern what's the best pathway possible. We hear our president determine or say that churches are essential, and we affirm and we appreciate. That's a great thing for a president of the United States to say and affirm, but we know it's already true. We've been seeing that church is essential for 11 weeks, that as churches all over America are reaching more people than they ever have, the gospel of Jesus is going forth in powerful ways. But it's always good to hear politicians and government officials say, yes, churches are essential. It's good to hear our governor and our county officials begin to loosen the restrictions that would allow organizations and local businesses to open up. And yet, for a church like ours, it's also very, very tricky. And it's not just a legal decision. I heard one of our local pastors say this. We're not asking ourselves what's the legal thing to do. He said, we're asking ourselves, what is the loving thing to do? I like that, so I stole that right now. He was talking about something that is very dear to our heart. How do we meet in a way that is beneficial, that is helpful, that is safe, that is loving, that helps us worship God like we are called to worship God, welcome in guests and visitors like we're called to welcome in guests and visitors. And so we're in the process of trying to determine what are the best steps. There are some churches who maybe are on one end of a spectrum, and they say, we're going to open up as soon as possible, no matter what, we're going to open up. And they're working through social distancing guidelines. They're working through how to do that with restrictions, because one of the restrictions is only at 25% capacity or 100 people, whichever number is most. So churches like ours, the maximum is 100. So there's churches over here. There's other churches over here that say, we're not opening anytime soon. And there's a lot of churches in this category, and we're learning from both of these groups, and we're trying to decide what's best. But there's complexity in the details, and every church is wrestling through these in different ways. So I wanted to let you know how we're wrestling through these this week. I'll probably give another update in the next week or two, but as of right now, we have not set a deadline of when we will be back. We have not set a date that we're thinking that's the day we're back in. We're working through phases. Right now, we're in phase number 1. Phase number 1 is we are online only church. For our weekend gatherings, for our student ministries, our children, we're online only. However, last week we took one step forward, and our worship team and me and some of our tech people, we were on campus. There were 14 of us. This week we'll take a baby step forward. We'll invite a few others on our staff and key volunteers to join us on Sunday morning as we begin to work through safety protocols that will prepare us for the day we move into phase 2, 3, 4, and on. Once we do this well, we'll learn lessons, we'll adjust, and we'll be ready for what's next. Phase 2 will most likely be, will it be inviting small groups of people to be in homes together, to watch and experience the weekend gathering together, to grow in community as you experience God's love. And we're so excited and have a lot of new details that are going to be coming out very soon. Stay tuned for that. But until then, what can you do? I've got a few things that I would love to suggest. Number 1, would you please pray for wisdom for us who are in church leadership here at Hillside, for churches all around us who are navigating these things. This morning in my devotions in James chapter 3, I was reading about the wisdom that comes from God is pure. it's peaceable, it's gentle, it's able to reason, and we want that kind of wisdom to govern our decisions for what's best. Also, keep engaging online. Make it a priority. Put it in your calendar. Engage online. Even go beyond that. Invite other people. When you share on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, social media, when you share, guess what? Some of your family and friends and neighbors and coworkers actually join in as well. It's a way that you can even be a witness. You can be evangelistic through Facebook. Imagine that. You can share the story of Jesus with others by just simply hitting share. We would love that. Also, be creative in growing in community. Maybe for now that's a text, that's a phone call, but pretty soon it's going to be a time where you can invite some friends, maybe a small group, maybe some neighbors together and watch the sermon together and discuss it and eat breakfast together. We're so excited about how that's going to be unrolled in these next weeks. And then also serve your neighbor, or maybe first of all, get to know your neighbor. We believe this is an opportunity to see the church be the church in our homes, on our streets, in our neighborhoods, in our city, and ultimately in our world. Even when we're not meeting physically on a campus together, God's Spirit is doing something unique in those days. And although I miss being with you, I am thrilled when I hear those stories of how His transformation is happening one story at a time. I can't wait to get to see you really, really soon. But until then, keep loving, serving your neighbors, your city. Keep being generous as we see God do what only God can do. I'm so thankful for you. I love you. I miss you. I'm praying God's blessing on you, and I'll see you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.